Remember that?
Yeah.
Hello, entrepreneurs. Joe DeCharis, CPA Extraordinaire, coming to you live from downtown Flushing, New York, for another amazing interview with another amazing entrepreneur. And there's a little funny story behind this one, folks, because I was supposed to be on Ebone Cruz's podcast today, and I thought, and now she's on mine, and I thought she was a financial specialist. And that because that's what the graphic said, but no, you're not I'm the financial specialist.
Yes,
you were supposed to interview me, and I got the wrong graphic.
That's right.
So if you're here because of my post promising financial stability, you're not going to get that tonight, unless somehow it happens. But Ebone, thank you so much for joining us. Tell us a little bit about what you are, who you are, and what you do.
All right, so of course I am Ebone Cruz, former radio personality turned political campaign outreach director, and I landed with the city of Tampa working with their neighborhood coordination outreach, just based on working a political campaign. One thing I did find out, however, is that government life is not for me. I definitely prefer entrepreneur life. But this opportunity actually helped me create my latest course, which is the Professional Woman's Escape Plan. And it talks about just taking your industry expertise to another level and creating a business out of it. And so it was a blessing in disguise that I did have this opportunity, because then I could really talk to the pain points of corporate America 9 to 5.
Wow. That's pretty interesting. We just had an election here in New York City for mayor.
Yeah, yes, I did.
So, yeah. So, I don't get into the politics, but I do have family members that are in politics, and, it's pretty interesting, right? To learn how government actually works.
Yes, that was the outreach part. Because of, I guess, my radio background, bringing people together was not the problem. For me, it was more so 17 signatures and 16 yeses before we can get anything moved. So I'm like, we're waiting on this project for 5 months for what? Like, what are we doing here?
So did it get frustrating for you?
Yes, very, very frustrating.
Okay.
Because to the point, go ahead.
No, because you're an entrepreneur. You must have felt like suffocating.
Yeah, I felt like I was in a cage and my wings were clipped. Like I was this beautiful parrot in a cage and they clipped my wings.
So that's good. I learned a long time ago I didn't belong in government. A family member was going to get me a job, and he said, don't try to fix anything. They don't want you to fix anything, because then they lose jobs. So it was like, I'm confused.
Yeah, I learned that the hard way too. I was definitely a fixer, and that's not the plan.
No. So, and I still don't know what the plan is with that. That's why I try to stick with entrepreneurs that try to change things and fix things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Solve problems.
Right.
So who do you work with now? Who do you love to work with? So
now I vibrate more towards professional women that are looking not to just pretty their resume up for a new job. They're really looking and serious about starting a business and may just need some direction. Many that I speak to now try different MLM programs or affiliate marketing programs because they're trying to create some type of income, which is, you can do that if you're strategic about it. However, I go in the direction of taking the talent that you already have. You've already put 20 years in with that talent. All right. So let's package this talent, this skill set into a business in itself, because now it takes the training out of it. You already know how to do it. Now you just have to package it.
So it sounds like your market is the same market as mine, because I'm working with a lot of professional women that were in academia, corporate, and they want to get out of it. And they're starting businesses.
Right.
And it's almost like, are you familiar with the E-Myth by Michael Gerber? So he wrote this book a long time ago. It's the E-Myth. It was pretty popular, sold a lot of copies. There's a big following. Anyway, with his point was that you could be great at baking cakes, but that don't mean you're going to be great at running a cake business.
Right.
Right? Because there's a lot of moving parts.
So many moving parts.
Yeah, and we get caught up, where it's like a conundrum. It's like we're out of control in a world that's out of control. So how do you hit the bullseye?
Right. How do you do it? How do you
connect with your people?
Right. And so that's why I said it's not all about finding the niche, the product. It's about just taking, in the program, I call it your GVP. I say it's your greatest valuable proficiency. That one thing that you are amazing at. People ask you all the time, why don't you start this? Why don't you do this? And you just laugh it off. But that is actually something that could, definitely work towards your benefit, your God-given talent.
So you're taking people's talent, what they love to do, and trying to monetize it.
That's correct.
That is exactly what I try to do, only I do it from the financial aspect. So you got to have a financial foundation. You can't just... Right. What happens if your marketing works? That's what I ask you, because it happened to me sometimes, and I wasn't structured. I didn't have a training. I didn't have any process. And I imploded. I got too many clients too fast, and that was a problem.
Right.
So and what I did, just as an entrepreneur, I'll be transparent. I didn't love being an accountant for a long time. So I kept trying something else. I'm going to be a business coach. I tried to be a website database developer. Believe it or not, I have no talent at all at that, but I wanted to change the world. And they said, how could I do it as an accountant? And then through a series of coincidences, market research, I did all this analysis, and guess what? I love doing bookkeeping.
Yes. They need you.
I was like,
they need you.
I said, oh my God, you can't get a government grant. You can't, run a bit. You can't do anything unless you have bookkeeping. I mean, you could try, but it's going to be a disaster. Right. So that's what I did. I wish I would have had you as a coach like 15 years ago.
Yeah. I don't know if I would have been able to help you out 15 years ago, but I would have tried. I'll tell you.
So so I know who you work with. Where do you work with them? Are you virtual? Are you brick and mortar?
Yes. So when I originally launched this program, it was brick and mortar. And then I transitioned it to virtual because brick and mortar, I'm like, I don't have enough time. So I'm a mother of three. I have a 17-year-old, a 14-year-old, and a 3-year-old. Oh,
so
wow. We're all different. Yeah, all the time, right? So schedule is key for me. So when the classes were getting booked, I'm like, I don't have the time to be physically in these places. I need to set this up on automation. So that's basically how the program works. Now we do live coaching inside of a group, but the actual course and program in itself, it is virtual. You work with our team, our engineer, especially for video and podcasting. All of that is done virtual. And even website development. We just our team is some of everywhere. So I have some folks in India, some folks in Tampa, a few in Virginia. And so it's just, we're transitioning, we're working the vision, the dream. I'm really big on the team believing the vision, because if they believe and know the vision, then it makes it 10 times easier when we're pushing out content.
Yeah. Having a team is huge. You dealt with some of my team members, I guess, Kareem. Yeah. And, I could never do this. I could not do what I do now without my team.
Yeah. When I first started years ago, now, mind you, I read a little bit about you. I think you started a casino as an adolescent.
10 years old. My parents shut me down. I could have been a millionaire before I was 11.
Yes. When I read that, I said, Joe the Money Man. That's his name. That's what I'm going to call him, Joe the Money Man.
I remember standing in my driveway with like $4 saying, why do people work? When they could, like it was yesterday. I was like, I don't understand why do people go to jobs? But
Yeah, like it just made me think. So I'm a military child. And I remember one summer we got together and I was like, we're getting our parents lawnmowers and blowers and we're going knocking, making money, you know? And so I was telling the engineer today, I told the engineer, I'm like, well, Money Man just started a casino. I just started a lawn service. So maybe I wasn't thinking at the right time.
Well, so the problem with the casino is it was illegal.
Yeah. Yes.
So I eventually did the lawnmower thing too. When my friends were getting jobs in factories during the summer, I went around knocking on doors with the lawnmower.
Yeah.
So we all did that.
Yeah. All about that flexibility.
So your program sounds like you have a pretty good team, and you cover a lot of different areas. Like, how does the process work with you?
So what we do is we determine what that GVP is, you know, and so there's a series of questions that we do ask and things to make you kind of understand and hone in on that skill and that talent. And then once you understand that, then you go into the phase where we're now deciding which platform are you going to use. Because what I run into with a lot of entrepreneurs is they want to go from Instagram to Facebook to YouTube to Pocket. They want to do it all at one time. And it's possible to package it. However, it takes steps. And so the first year that I tell them is focus on that one. So once they determine the GVP, let's say someone says, you know what, I want to build a YouTube. I want to put my products on YouTube. All right, perfect. So then we talk now about affiliate marketing, because typically they're probably not going to have any products. And so they need some type of service or product. So this is where I get real niche focused. Like for me, I'm more in the software industry as far as my business is concerned. And so a lot of what I talk about or that I may be affiliate of would consist of things that I use that I can talk about every single day that I can technically vouch for. Right. And so if you're building your business as this expert, you have this stream of income. It could be a product or service, but you have that stream of income. So now you're not building a business and you're like, okay, how do I create the content, Ebony? How do I pack? You know, we got you a product. And so from there is where we then go into content creation, because we focus on evergreen content. We only are talking about that one product or that one service that you're pushing all year long. And so everything that you eat, sleep, drink, think about for that whole entire year is driven back to number one, is what we call it. And from there, we just go to launching. I provide a worksheet with launch math. So it gives them the numbers are already in the spreadsheet of what you should be charging. Now, some folks, if they want to go less, I typically say, you know, 500 or more for a premium product. You are an expert. You're just learning how to package the business. It's not like you don't know about it. You have someone helping you actually set up the business side of it.
Yeah, I'm mesmerized. I was just listening. I was like, so that's for new businesses, right? Or is that for anyone? Like if I came to you, would you go through the same process?
Right. So for businesses that are already established, now they're looking to scale. So now we're looking at another product or another way we can package to your clientele. So a current business that I work with, what we did with her is we added on a digital marketing part of a digital marketing agency. So she already has a great following. Recently did a podcast, and so the digital marketing agency side of it is now another stream of income for her, so that she talks about, hey, we have this. She's like, oh, I didn't think I could package it like that. I'm like, yeah, it's a lot of creative ways to do it. Sometimes it's just kind of hard learning how to actually set that process up.
Yeah, it is hard. It's really difficult. You know, going from a solopreneur to trying to scale a business has been one of the most difficult things I ever did. You know, it's you know, leadership, it's inspiration, it's a lot of things I wasn't used to doing.
Right, because you know, you got to think, even with your team, you're still in coach mode, because you need your team to be motivated. You need your team to believe in you just as much as you believe in yourself, if not more. You know, you need your team to be receptive to people, to clients, to getting things done, having an importance. And sometimes when we start, we want to start with friends and family, or we want to do the barter system.
Oh my God. No,
yeah.
Did that. Yeah. That don't work.
Yeah, don't. I told
my sister, I love you, Dave, but you know, for years. And she and mom retired on me. So they were great, you know, just couldn't scale a business like that. But I think the hardest part is getting them to know me and what my vision is, because how could they do their job if they don't really know if I don't know what my job is, what my vision is,
right.
That's part of the problem, isn't it?
Right. Right. It's clarity. And so that's why we really focus on GVP. When on my podcast, you hear me say GVP, on YouTube, you know, pretty much whatever I'm talking, because your greatest valuable proficiency is something that, you know, maybe you started off as a God-given talent, but then you added the education to it. So, you know, you were an accountant and then you added the education to it. So you just upped your expertise an entire level. So not only can you teach courses, if that was something you wanted to do, but, you know, you can have the podcast where you're providing information. So it's just a matter of where your comfort level is. Like, I have some clients who never want to get on any video at all. I'm like,
it wasn't easy
to push start, right? So, you know, we have different options. It could be a course creation for you versus another young lady may want podcasts. And when I launched this business, I wanted to be able to say that I could supply the expert to help you. So I didn't want to tell you you could do a podcast, but then I don't know who to send you to get your podcast started. So it was important for me that our engineer on board knew how to walk someone through starting up their podcast. He was there to answer their questions.
Right.
Because as a premium course, you don't want someone to invest in your program and then they're not getting what that investment is. And so I try to over deliver to ensure that even on your days that you feel that I just can't do this, but our team is there for you to kind of help you out.
Cool. So what do they say? Under promise and over deliver.
Under promise, over deliver. It never fails. I tell you, it never fails. Yeah. You know, and sometimes it makes lifelong friends as clients when you do that too.
Yeah. So can I ask you some selfish questions?
Yeah, I guess so.
Self-direct. So I'm an accountant. My business is very seasonal, right? So you were talking about having this one product, and, you know, and I have friends that do that. You know, they have one story and I envy them. But, you know, tax season was like, hey, get your taxes done. Now that message ain't gonna work. So we pivoted, and now we're doing more like creative financing, how to get grants, how to set up a not-for-profit.
Right.
Am I on the right track? Or
yeah, because, you know, off season, one good thing to do for small businesses is to let them know how they can be prepared for when they're filing their taxes. So when you're on off season, that's when you're in teaching mode. You should be in teaching, coaching mode, because that's a good 4 or 5 months that you have to gain and captivate a new audience through your content. And from there, when tax season comes, they're confident in you. They have built trust in you. They know you now. And so, you know what? I'm going to actually use Joe this year for my taxes because I learned a lot from him.
Yeah, you know, and so I do a lot of Facebook Lives. I do a lot of podcasts now. And, you know, sometimes people come to me like, oh, my God, how are you doing this? It took me about 8 years to figure it out.
Yeah.
And being on stage, embarrassing myself, just getting the lighting and the camera, you know, oh, my God. I thought it was going to be easy.
My very first YouTube video, the only reason why I started YouTube in the first place is so I could get over my fear of doing actual Facebook Lives. So I'm like, I can't do live. Like, no way. What if something gets in my hair or my like, I can't do that.
Those are the best ones.
Yeah, like,
those are the best ones.
Or the kid runs in the back. I'm like, I gotta have this together. So I was like, you know what? YouTube is pre-recorded, it's not live. I could just pre-record it, and that'll get me used to doing it. So my first video, I am literally not looking at the camera. The light is probably like on my neck in like some cases. But ironically, that video is my most viewed video out of my channel. And so I'm like, I tell my students, I'm like, done is better than perfect. Just do it. You just got to do it. Laugh at yourself a little bit, trust the process and just go for it.
The funny thing is I have some friends that are massively successful in entertainment, and that, they're doing lives, and the craziest things happen. They'll be on and their kid will run in and ask them for like money. And they're just like, okay, here's some money.
And that's a new audience that now they're captivated.
I don't know what it is. I got friends that I don't know what it is with cats. For some reason, if you have a cat, they have to get on their owner's lap and be part of the show.
If this interview was this morning, you would have caught my 3-year-old.
Okay.
She would have tiptoed right on in here, and like it doesn't matter when I'm on, she's always trying to like peek, let me see who's on there. And it's the cutest way. She just I'm like, no, you can't. But the thing about it is though, that simple thing that we think is a big mistake is actually a attraction tool for our tribe. Now we've just attracted a new, they're like, oh wow, she has kids.
I think it makes you real.
Yeah.
Like you're normal.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good segue going back into what you do, because I think you try to find people and try to find their like core, like what really motivates you, what gets you up at night, right?
Right.
Or no, get you up in the morning.
In the morning, right. Keeps you up at night.
Right. I just wanted to get that right. And you're just basically telling people to do what they do.
Yeah, what?
And make money at it, and make money,
right? So, because why be great at this thing and you just keep this hidden talent, and you're like, how can I make money? You're miserable on this job, but you have this talent that you have yet to tap into. So why not go ahead and tap into it? So
I have a friend. She's in part of our mastermind. We have Tish Weber here. Hi, Tish. Thanks for showing up. Tish is in one of my friends' mastermind groups, but she does quilting. And when I met her, what was it about? I might have been a year ago. She was doing one of those MLMs.
Yeah.
Okay. And she loved the product, but she's just like, listen, I got a great job. I make a great living, but I want freedom.
Yep.
So she started that, but her passion was quilting.
Yeah.
And she's like, how am I ever going to make money at that? Well, my other friend, Haley Gray, told her, well, you could do a course. You could have a YouTube channel. And the light went off.
Yeah.
And she's like a different person now. It's almost like, oh my God. Yeah, people will pay you. I used to say, I don't care if you chase butterflies in the desert. If you're passionate about it, you can make money at it.
You can make, right. You can. You absolutely can, So like I just think it's more mindset, because we don't know how to do it. It's like, I can't do this. Let me just stick to this job. But yeah, you're so miserable. And one thing that I can say for a lot of new clients that I've gotten is that the pandemic definitely showed a lot of people that I'm not willing to, work day in and day out, be away from my family, and lose out on freedom and lose out on life. And so I want to start a business. I want to figure out what can I do to make my own income. And some people were forced because they lost jobs. And, that made them become entrepreneurs in itself.
You want to hear something interesting?
Yes.
Over 4 million people quit their jobs last month.
Yes.
It's like a record. They're quitting because they're like, they got a taste of freedom.
Yeah.
And they're going to be starting jobs because they're like, hey, I survived. Right. And they got some kind of idea, and God bless them. There was some good to come out of this, I hope.
Absolutely. I think so. I think a lot of people, had an opportunity to just hone in on themselves, on things that were important to them. And just kind of like appreciate things. Before, we were just on the go. If you got a moment with the kids, it was like eating, talking to them, but you're still on the go. But, we were forced to create activities, to maintain, to virtually learn. I just got over virtual learning, and I was like, thank you. This has been the longest school year ever, because it's 3 different levels of kids. It's this time this one starts, and so it took an amazing balancing act, but I enjoyed being able to work from my home and still, get my kids together. Some days we might have had class at the beach, or we might have had class at the park, to just get us out, but we were still able to function and develop them educationally, me leverage my business.
That's awesome. So listen, I try to keep these to be under 20 minutes because people just don't like to watch long videos, myself included. But how do people get in touch with you?
So the easiest way, I'm on all social media platforms, minus TikTok, because I'm not good at that yet. Ebone Cruz, Ebone Cruz. You can check us out just straight right from the website with successwithebonecruz.com. And lastly, you can looking for anything, you can go to digitalgirl.com. Go digitalgirl.com. Bring your businesses online. We welcome you.
That's awesome. Any parting words of wisdom?
Parting words of wisdom. I would say, sometimes we go through some pains, some tribulations, some trials. We go through a lot. And out of those pains may be the most successful business that you can ever imagine. Because if you thought you felt it and you thought, it was hard on you, just imagine how the next person that hears your story when you deliver it, can relate to you. And so whatever that talent is, whatever you wake up all the time, dreaming about, it just keeps going back. You're like that hamster wheel entrepreneur. It's just really time to focus and get yourself set up to launch this business.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Ebone. I'd like to invite you and everyone else to Mastermind with Joe DiChiara. We meet on Saturdays at 2 p.m. I would love to have you as a guest and share your knowledge and wisdom.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so that's our story, and we're sticking with it.
And we're sticking to it.
Thank you, Ebone Cruz, and I look forward to collaborating with you.
Me
in
too.
the future.
Thanks for having me.
Anytime.